Republicans, you own this. Republicans in Congress, anyway. I'm not condemning voters. But I want voters to recognize that Republican control at times has done nothing to end the debts that we've been accumulating that are about to be foisted on children and grandchildren. That's Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and of late, Obamacare. And yes, you had control, presidential plus Senate plus House, for the first 2 years of the Trump administration. You had control for more than 3 years of the George Bush administration, and you had sort of control when Congress under Newt Gingrich was Republican, and you had a fairly pliant president of Bill Clinton willing to make sensible deals. But you didn't even try. Not in any of these Congresses did you greatly try to reform Social Security. It's, we know, bankrupt. Now, I use that term. It should be used to Social Security, even though they say, well, the day of reckoning is 8 years from now, and on Medicare it's 7 years from now. When you know something in a trust fund is going to be negative in a certain number of years, you are, by my definition, bankrupt now. You know you cannot repay the debts that you are incurring or have incurred. That is bankrupt. So how do you extricate? Well, Republicans and Democrats now just say, well, continue the system. We'll raise the age. We'll lower some benefits. But the system will continue, and young people will keep feeding it in so it stays marginally surviving until it collapses. Okay? The total collapse will then be the young people who've paid in decade after decade and maybe expecting a return, some return at least, they'll get zero. Okay? Young people now don't expect much, if anything. And they treat this as a tax, and they're wise. Almost everyone should be treating it as not a fund that they're going to get money out of unless they're on distant, deep welfare. Okay? Social Security could become a welfare program, but it can't make the promises that it has been giving for many decades. Republicans, you own this. But who might help you? It's we libertarians. Okay? And a lot of voters have libertarian sentiments. So here's how. We libertarians offer to be taken up at any time, but sooner it's better than later. We offer choice. Let people voluntarily keep Medicare, keep Social Security, keep Obamacare if they really trust the government for all these systems. Fine. But many won't. And so the opt-out is a beautiful thing because now you are taxing only those who want to be taxed. And the government will be better able to meet its promises. Still probably won't because it's government, but at least it has a fighting chance. The rest of us are out of the system. We can't make a claim against them, even if we're indigent 30 years from now. Ooh, I want some security. No, you opted out. And a good government respects those contracts and doesn't give in to whiners. But none of us are whiners when our choices get us money up front. That's what most of us want. So, what's the libertarian way of fairly making such payouts? It's, yes, the free market. Government would have a tranche probably for every single year, okay? If you're 86 years old, these are the obligations that we, the government, now have to all people age 86. And they've paid in for so much of their time, and their obligations aren't as great as obligations to somebody who's 66 and has a lot more time to likely make withdrawals. So 86-year-olds still might want to take a haircut, get a lump sum, and get very little payout. They've had since age 65 a good chunk paid out, and maybe they'd like a lump sum now. Use it now in your deep retirement. the 66-year-old, right on the cusp, whether to take Social Security or not after all that pay-in. So how about a payout now? You bid for how much of what's owed to you actuarially you're going to accept. Let's say the 66-year-old and his spouse are in good health, okay, expecting to live 25 to 30 years each, good health. That's a big pull out from the government. But if they relinquish it, the government could accept their bid of saying, I want 20% of it. Now, okay, so actuarially, they're saving the government money. They might be giving up some money, but they're, meaning long-term, but they're getting it now. What about a young person? Okay, he's 36 years old. He's paid in since he was 18. And for those 18 years, he might forfeit all of it in return for not having to pay any more. I'm turning 60 next year. I would relinquish 100% of what I earned since age 16. Okay, 44 years worth. Take it. Just don't tax me for the next 16 or 18 years of work that I'd like to incur. It's a trade-off, and the bidding would go to the best offers. Meaning, government could be wise for once and say, you know, we're going to pay out for each year the offered that's the best. So somebody who's saying, you know, I just want a 15% payout actually would get funds before the ones wanting 20% payout. So it's a race, not to the bottom, but to the satisfactory medium, okay? Somebody who says, take it or leave it, I want 30% or everything. Then the government might say, all right, we're not taking your 30% bid. We will pay you over time what you can expect if we exist. Existing is what I would love to see for all people who've paid in, but existing with trust, because you don't have this now. Social Security cannot pay what it is obligated to. Medicare is even worse off. It cannot pay what it's obligated to. It's been a good run. If you're a baby boomer getting virtually free medicines, you have a fantastic benefit. But recognize that you are taking from grandkids who won't have that benefit. It just will not be available. Libertarians will help. Please listen.